Hello everyone, TMMgamer here, and today I have the pleasure of bringing you some very nice Team Defender gameplay on the map Outpost using the MK14. However, today's commentary is not going to be about the gameplay at all. Today's commentary is going to be about Olympic badminton. Now, if you guys haven't been keeping up with the Olympics, you might think it's a bit of a strange topic to talk about because badminton isn't really one of the poster boy sports of the Olympics. Because if you think of the Olympics, you immediately think of track and field or swimming or something along those lines. But Olympic badminton found itself in the headlines over the last couple of days for all the wrong reasons. And I'm just going to go into it a little bit more detail because this year is the first year where the Olympic badminton competition didn't use a straight knockout, because in the past it'd just be, last 32, last 16, last 8, last 4, final, and it'd just be if you won your round, you went through to the next round of the knockout competition. But what happened this year was they introduced a round-robin group stage system where everyone plays a few games, plays 3 games in the group, 4 games in the group, however many it is, and then the top 1 or 2 of the group go through to the knockouts. But the idea of this is a good thing because the Olympics only happens once every 4 years, and you want to be able to see the best athletes as often as possible. And by having the round-robin system, it means that instead of having your national pair only play 1 game and then getting knocked out, if they lose their first game, they've still got 2 more games to try and come back and win and get qualification. So the idea is a good idea. However, it didn't work out quite as well as they were planning in practice, because in the last round of the round-robin competition, in the last group stage game, there were 4 pairs in the women's competition competing. There was 1 from Indonesia, 2 from South Korea, and 1 from China. And what they actually tried to do was deliberately lose to manipulate the quarter-final draw, because they were all going to be having a chance of coming up against the #1 Chinese pair. And obviously, if you're in the Olympics, you want to avoid those best pairs for as long as possible, because you want to win a medal. You don't want to be drawn against the #1 in the world in the quarter-finals. If you have to play them in the final, that's fine, because at least you've got a silver, and anything can happen in an Olympic final. But if you have to play them in the group stage, it's not quite as good, and you don't want to have that chance of playing them. So what these players did is they attempted to deliberately lose their games, so they fell slightly down the league table in their round-robin group, so they wouldn't have to play the Chinese seed. And obviously this has caused an absolutely huge scandal, because not only is this just incredibly bad in any form or any time of the year, in any competition, it goes completely against the Olympic spirit. And, if you guys watched the opening ceremony, there was a part of the ceremony where coaches, trainers, and players' representatives, competitors' representatives, had to take the Olympic oath. Now, the Olympic oath, basically, I'm not going to go into boring details and list it all exactly word for word, but what it basically is that you agree to compete in the spirit of the competition. You agree to try your best and to play in a sporting manner, and if you lose, it doesn't matter. You'll shake your opponent's hand and you'll move on, and if you win, you won't rub your opponent's nose in it and all that sort of things. It's all about competing in the correct spirit. Now, obviously, these athletes deliberately throwing their games really has gone completely against that. And it really has caused a bit of a stir, because you don't expect this sort of things at the Olympics. The Olympics is supposed to be about, the great human achievement and people pushing the boundaries of sport and really giving it their all. And for people to deliberately throw a game is completely against the Olympic spirit. And not only is it against the Olympic spirit, just imagine if you were a spectator in the crowd or watching on TV. You've paid possibly several £100s to go and watch these guys play badminton, and instead of watching them really go for the victory, you're watching them make basic errors deliberately. I mean, errors that I wouldn't make, they were making, deliberately whacking the shuttlecock out of play, missing very easy shots, just to try and finish as low as possible, just to try and avoid the better pairs in the knockout competition. But I'm pleased to announce that these 4 badminton pairs have actually been disqualified from the competition. I think that is a brilliant decision, because you cannot have people deliberately losing at the Olympic Games just so they can manipulate the quarter-final draw. It's just not in the spirit of the games at all, and I'm very happy to hear that these guys have been disqualified. But I wanted just to put this question out to all of you guys out there in YouTube land. If you were in the position of the Badminton Authority, I think it's the BOA, I'm not too sure about that, but if you were in the position of the Badminton Authority, would you have done the same thing? Would you have disqualified these pairs for manipulating the competition, or would you have let them continue and play on with a stern warning or a fine or whatever? So that's quite interesting to see your guys' opinion on that. But in my opinion, I think they did the right thing by disqualifying these, because it brings the game into disrepute. It's negative publicity. No one wants to hear their sport talked about in that way. So I think the firm action was the right thing to do. So guys, I really hope you've enjoyed the gameplay. I think the final score is something like 32-4, something along those lines, which in a pretty quick team defender game isn't bad at all. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've enjoyed the Olympic commentary. And as always, guys, thanks for watching and have a fantastic day.